Take a quick look at the markets now. Viv Govender from Rand Swiss is with us. Viv, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Lots of stories this afternoon, but let's just get into the basic market. I mean, it's pretty strong in the green this afternoon, or what, 2% and over above that. I mean, what's driving it at the moment? I see that, those inflation figures from US was a big force, I think, at the start of the week. What's behind the good showing on the local market today?
I think it's still the same thing. I mean, we got those numbers yesterday that showed that U.S. inflation came in at 8.5% year on year, which is quite a high number. But the month-on-month movement for July basically was zero. So there was no change in July alone, showing that maybe the rises have stopped. It was lower than the previous month's year-on-year number of over 9%. Expectation is between 8.7%. So all in all, it looked like a better number that had been anticipated, even though in absolute terms it's a massively high number. I mean, it is bar one, which is the previous month, the highest number in 40 years. So it is a very high number. But the market right now was looking for some kind of indication inflation was peaking, because the market at the moment is very, forward-looking in terms of what they're thinking is going to happen with U.S. interest rates. They are planning a rate cut as early as next year, where the Fed is talking about it in the year after. If we see inflation moderate, if we see, further pain for the consumer, be taken away, while at the same time we see employment growth come under pressure, because we had two consecutive quarters of negative growth in the U.S. The hope is that the U.S. Fed will basically start looking at reversing its rate hiking decisions, and that will be very good for the market. And that's what the market's looking forward to at the moment, including our market as well.
Yeah, so the sentiment is there. Listen, what a day it's been for MTN, all right? So they've got their results out, profits strong, subscribers are pretty much healthy, but then it receives the news that Rain, that's the data-only company, is now saying, listen, we're going to tie up with Telkom, and this comes just weeks after MTN itself says, well, we're going to buy Telkom. What do you make, firstly? Let's start with the results of MTN. Good showing?
Very good showing. The market liked it a lot. I mean, the share price is up, like 9% today. So we're looking at a very strong showing from MTN coming through. It showed subscriber growth. It showed revenue doing well. It showed improvement coming through with regards to that Momo service as well. I don't know how you pronounce that, but maybe I got that wrong. But that money, banking service it has there, that finance fintech service, which I think is a very interesting part of these telecom providers going forward. I think at the moment, financial services, especially in the banking sector, are very open to disruption, and the companies that are best placed to take on that disruption are probably the telecom companies. And so that's an interesting thing that they've seen there as well.
And then let's just talk about Rain's interest. I mean, we just seen some news coming in from a so-called takeover panel that says, look, you were against the law, breach of the law, Rain I speak of, going ahead and announcing some merger with Telkom. But I mean, it flies in the face of what Telkom wants to do, or rather MTN wants to do with Telkom. What did you make of the debacle?
Look, I mean, Rain is being very optimistic and very aggressive, quite frankly. You look at the size of the companies, Rain is less than 1/10 the size of MTN in terms of market capitalization. And in fact, it would be the smaller partner between a merger, whereas Telkom is by far the smaller partner with a merger with MTN. So MTN would basically come in, take Telkom over, and Telkom would be the smaller partner, would be providing the infrastructure, but it also would get relief from its debt, which is quite large, would get basically the benefit of partnering with a larger partner, whereas Rain would be looking at Telkom as being the bigger partner in that merger and using basically Telkom to leverage itself up to a higher level. It's a very different volume proposal. That being said, I think from a regulatory point of view, like you mentioned, it will actually be an easier deal to go through the Competition Commission, because Rain is obviously not one of the dominant players in the telecom sector. It's MTN and it's Vodacom at the moment, and you would be looking at far less, I think, competition pushback with regards to a Rain merger, even though financially it might not make as much sense for Telkom.
Viv, just a few seconds left. I'm looking at the oil price at the moment, still below $100 a barrel. Rand's doing pretty good against the US dollar, 16.21. If we cross our fingers, we might just get another cut with petrol come next month.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. But I mean, if you look at where the petrol price is right now, it is really painful for the average consumer out there. I've spoken to some people in the last month or so, and they're talking about the fact that, for somebody that basically making a reasonable salary in South Africa, 15, 20,000 a month, the petrol bill is now consuming like 20% of the salary if they travel any distance. which is, obviously unsustainable. So yeah, we are looking at hopefully some kind of improvement coming through. Unfortunately, I think some of the drivers that we are seeing that is bringing the oil price down are going to disappear soon. One of the notable ones is the U.S. Is currently pumping quite a bit of oil from its own strategic reserves, stuff that they're not supposed to be touching unless it's an emergency for the country. So they've actually added to the global supply of oil by a little bit because they're actually reducing their strategic reserves. That ends in about 3 months' time, a little under 3 months' time. And when that does happen, you're going to see basically not only are they going to stop that production, they're going to have to replenish the reserves they've used up. So they go from being an addition to a subtraction from the global supply. At the same time, we enter into winter in the northern hemisphere, which could be difficult when we consider the fact that natural gas is quite expensive, and that means that any other energy source is probably going to be boosted up because of the fact that natural gas is going to have to be substituted in some cases.
Yeah, so then that spells bad news for the oil price. All right, thanks very much indeed. Viv Govender from Rand Swiss. That's where we leave it, Sally. With